Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Saratoga Racecourse. The track is fast, turf firm. Post time for the first is 93 minutes away. Here are the early changes. In the first, number 3, Caramelized, will race with a hood. Number 7, McTeague, jockey change to Gerard Galligan. And number 8, Restitution, races with cheek piece on. The second starts the early pick 5 with no program changes. In the third, start of the early pick 4, scratch number 1A, Senor Jobim. Scratch 8, Catch You Soon, and scratch number 9, Bronx Bomber. 1A, 8, and 9 out of the third. Please note, the early pick 4 starts with race 3 today, and then we have another middle pick 4 that begins with the fourth no changes in race 4. Fifth race kicks off the $1 pick 6. There's a nice carryover of $193,000 in the pick 6. No changes in race 5. In the 6, scratch number 10, T-Max. Race 7, number 2, Lost in Rome, £1 over. In the 8th, scratch the also eligibles, 8, 9, and 10, all the also eligibles out of the 8th. Race 9, scratch number 8, Headland. In the 10th, number 2, Feligny races with a hood again. Scratch number 7, Vax. Those are the early changes on today's card. Welcome to Saratoga Racecourse. Enjoy your afternoon. Coming up next, it's Talking Horses. Presented by Saratoga Spring Water Company. Talking Horses today with Andy Serling and Greg Wolf. An additional scratch just came in. Race number 7, scratch number 1A, higher quality. In the 7th, scratch 1A, higher quality.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses on day 15 here at Saratoga, brought to you by Saratoga Spring Water. In fact, I'm going to break one open. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, on an absolutely glorious day.
These are full?
Yes, you may drink it, Greg.
All right.
You're welcome to drink it. It's a little sparkling water. I'm just warning you right now. Anyway, welcome to Talking Horses. Gorgeous day. We start off week number 4, the Whitney. We drew the Whitney this morning. 6 horses. Cody's Wish drew the outside post.
1 to 2.
I think we're all looking forward to seeing him run. I mean, anytime the best horse in the country is running, it's exciting, and he is unequivocally, I'd have to say, the best horse in the country at this point. Wouldn't you
Yeah,
agree?
I think there's no question. I thought even coming into this meet, that was the race and the horse that collectively most people were most excited about seeing. Just the fact he's the best horse at a mile, we know that. And I love that they're taking this aggressive move going after the Classic.
I completely agree. And listen, if it doesn't work out and they feel there's a distance issue, they'll reevaluate from there. But that is the race they should be going for, and they are. And it's really exciting. And I'll tell you one thing of this meet so far. We've had multiple champions show up, multiple good horses, as we always do. But not only have the horses themselves delivered, but the stake races at this meet so far have, like, every one of them has delivered in a big way.
It's so exciting. And, we've had some compact fields. We've talked about it. But still, the star power, you're right, I mean, has been there. Echo Zulu, sensational. New York Thunder, who we didn't even think about, didn't even know about this horse. He'd never been on dirt before, delivered in a huge way. Now he's a major player in the sprint division. Obviously, the Jim Dandy, even with the drama and the controversy in that race, you're right. They've been sensational to this point. They're only going to get better.
The drama adds to it, to be honest with you. I mean, listen, the conversation is a good one, and it's a fun one, and it all adds to the whole story, and I agree. And Forte was terrific, as was Saudi Crown. It was just a terrific race, and it's like every one of these big races has been – I thought that Elite Power's performance, a horse that I've certainly been a bit of a doubter of his, and when he had to extend and run better to win a race, he was able to do it. And that race, the Vanderbilt, that was a thrilling race with 2 tremendous horses really laying it down. And
on a surface, too, his trainer had no idea if he'd even handle it.
Yeah, so, I mean, everything is just, I mean, it's really been exciting. You go back to you think about the Diana and the fact that an Italian lost, but it was a thrilling race down the stretch. All of the race we've had, the Coaching Club American Oaks was a very exciting race. Really, it has been sort of one exciting big race, and the stars have shown up, and for the most part, they've delivered.
That's what we expect from this meet, right?
Yep.
But at some point, too, we're going to see – well, we've seen some upsets as well, but we're going to see some – probably in some of the bigger stages, some big upsets still to come. We haven't had that one big whopper yet.
Right, we haven't. We've seen logical results. We've got some terrific stakes coming up this week, including the De La Rose today as well, which we'll talk about. First, we'll head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code SPA200, and we will match $200 of your initial deposit. We have a middle pick 4, races 3, 5, and 7 with the jump race. The first race, there's no multis besides a pick 3, starting and double, starting in that race, but no pick 4 and pick 5. So we are 3, 5, and 7 for the pick 4s today. We have a $10 bonus if you opt in and you bet $50 or more on our races, as well as Delaware Park. Do that through Naira Bets. We also have Pick 6 carryover, $193,772, a very healthy Pick 6 carryover. And there was only one real scratch in the body of the race. There was a late scratch just announced in the 7th race, the 1A, but really one scratch. The rest were all MTOs, and it probably is the biggest scratch of the entire Pick 6 sequence.
It's completely changed the late Pick 5, the Pick 6, obviously, and I think it's made it a much more competitive sequence as a result.
I could not agree more. I mean, whether or not you liked Vax, she was going to be a horse that was going to take a huge amount of play. And I think for many of us, she probably seemed like the best lean in the sequence. I mean, I guess some people might lean on technical analysis, but that's not an easy race. And I'm not saying Vax had to win, but it's a tough race. It's a tough race to have a strong opinion without her in there. We also have the contest. $300 buy-in. You have until 5 o'clock on Friday. Head over to Naira.com/contest. We have a feeder for that as well on Friday. $40 feeder. You have until tomorrow, I assume, at 5 o'clock. For that one also, head over to Naira.com/contest. And as is always the case, Saratoga Live will be on FS2 1 to 6:30 today, covering all the action. We were talking before we came on about the jump race a little bit, and it's named for Jonathan Kaiser, who was incredibly promising young rider who, at the age of 22, was involved in an unfortunate accident having nothing to do with racing and passed away, and this race is named for him.
Yeah, it was considered, I guess at the time, the best of his generation, and who knows how many championships he would have won. Barbados, Arch Kingsley, winning that Belmont Gold Cup last time out. Now back to the jumps. Interested to see this horse get back to the jumps today.
He's looking to be the second horse to come out of the Gold Cup to win a jump race because Imperator won here last week. And he had made that big crazy middle move in the Belmont Gold Cup. So apparently right now it's on the verge of being a key race for the Saratoga jump race. We'll see what happens in the first race for the jumps. And Liza Hendricks will be joining us, our friend Joe Clancy, a little bit under the weather. We hope Joe's feeling better, and we look forward to him being back next week. Race number 2. We'll start out with a video of the horse that Greg picks, a second-time starter, Flying in Style, who I picked 4th. You have on top.
Yeah, so this was first time out for this horse. This horse broke incredibly sharp, was on the lead, has speed, and then battled neck and neck, really, with the horse who winds up winning this race, who was a third-time starter for Linda Rice, who we all know the incredible Belmont. She's had this incredible Saratoga as well. All her horses are running. So had every right, I think, in the debut to back up, get tired, had the rail. I love the fact this horse is drawn outside today for start number 2. So a lot to like. Rosario shows back up for a trainer we know is too good to not win at this meet, Charlie Baker. We highly respect.
He will win, for no doubt about it. I don't have a strong opinion. One thing I would say, and I think it's oddly the horse you and I have 3rd, Nobilis. I wonder if he's kind of the horse to beat. He is a horse that seems to have trouble running inside of horses, and he does his best running when he gets to the outside. Now he draws post 2 again. But Dylan's been on him the last couple times, and I think it's incumbent on Dylan to find a way to sort of drop back and get this guy to run outside, because I think that his best races are probably too good for these, and I think one of the problems is he keeps getting stuck inside. He draws post 1, he draws post 2, he's a horse that would have really benefited from drawing the post your horse got.
He ran very good, too, in his debut against a horse we thought was going to be a Triple Crown player potentially in Arctic Arrogance in his debut, and it was at Saratoga. I know it was a wet track, but he hasn't, figure-wise at least, match that number yet.
It's interesting the number of different opinions people have on Stavros. I have him 2nd. You have him 4th. I have friends that don't like him at all. I have a good friend who's good opinion who likes him a lot in here. I mean, this horse has run against some real racehorses out in California, and a New York bred finally coming to run against New York breds.
Yeah, the horse he faced in his debut actually went against Go Rocket Ride in a stakes race in his second start, and actually took money in that race. He was 9-2. Wickline, Baffert, first-time starter, who got an 86 buyer in that debut. Still, I just haven't seen a lot from this horse, and obviously he's not that caliber horse, so that's why he's coming here.
Yeah, I mean, and he belongs running against New York breds. I never understand why. I mean, I guess you want to take a shot in the bigger races, and California connections have them. But at the end of the day, these connections also run horses in New York, and he is a New York bred, and, you know, they start with an advantage. I'm picking Chalky Cat because I'm married to this horse, and today is the last chance for him on the dirt. In his debut, he ran a sensational race. Muddy track or not, he got left. He made a big, huge middle move and a big, wide move and ran a very, very good race. Something obviously went wrong in his next start, and he was out for 4.5 months. He came back last time and did not run particularly well. Now he's second off a layoff. This is the last chance for him. But this is a horse that I know based on his first race can run. He's also getting a rider change to Luis Saez, which I don't think should be ignored. And it's now or never for me and Chalky Cat, at least on dirt. Maybe on turf I could lose money on him next time.
Just strange. I mean, his last race, obviously they went to dirt, but 3 straight turf works before that last start.
Well, that's, you know, it's funny. I talked with David Aragona about this before that, and he said the way they're working the turf, I wonder if they're using this race as a prep to get him on the turf at Saratoga. Now they run him in the dirt. I don't know. Maybe they tried him in the dirt and he just ultimately decided that he wasn't really handling it that well. I don't know the story, but I'm giving him a last chance because his first race was very good. And somewhere in there, he's got a chance to be good enough. So the second race, Chess Master, I guess is going to be a big favorite. And we'll take a look at his last race at Horseshoe Indy. And let me ask you one question. How much do you make of the fact that Mike Maker has been really cold up here?
Look, he had that incredible start. Was that 2 years ago?
Last year, I think.
Was it last year?
I don't know. I can't remember.
He's going to break through at some point. Yeah. To me, I'm not that concerned about it. This horse coming back in 11 days. I look at this field, and this horse just has figures that if he runs his A race are so much better than everybody in this group. And he's produced it at 4 different racetracks.
He runs that race. He's going to be extremely tough to beat it.
Yeah. I even, like, you go 3 starts back. He was in against just too tough, 2 starts back. 3 back, he gets completely left. He actually hit the gate. He was last early, 4 wide all the way around the racetrack, and he's right there at the wire. This horse is just incredibly game, and I trust him more than anyone in this field to show up and bring his race.
That's fair. I'm going to try to beat him, but I totally get it. I'm going to take Lyrical Poet in here for Wesley Ward, and I just want to see him go to the front. I'm not exactly sure what the plan with Joel was last time out, but if you look at all his races and you look at the wrangled off comment, it kind of tells the whole story, and I just respect Wesley when he ships here. At times, his horses run okay. At times, he's run less than okay. For what it's worth, in turf sprints, off of layoffs, 6 to 12 months, Wesley's got terrific numbers. So I'm going to take him off the layoff to wire the field.
I looked at this horse, so I think he's the speed of the speed. All last year, this is a 6-year-old now. It's not like this is some horse who's coming around for Wesley Ward and has a chance, I think, to move forward. All of last year, and granted, he started to step up in class a little bit.
Yeah,
he kind of went backwards all last year.
He did. That's fair. I mean, I thought his race against Dancing Buck was okay. The following race was not great, and then I don't know what they were doing last time. It just seems when Wesley ships these horses here, they show up more than not. What about 7 Cents, a horse that you've left out and I have second here? This horse gets Luis Saez. He has not gotten the best of trips in his races, some wide trips. Now, there is a question of whether or not he can run anymore, but I thought he was an interesting horse for Tom Morley to maybe step up because he does have races that are good.
And who's having a good meet, by the way, Tom Morley. What, a couple of wins and then a 54-1 shot was a runner-up for him, too.
And he was babysitting on Sunday. I saw him as he had just left his babysitting duties.
Oh, I was going to say, I need an extra one, so
really?
maybe he can
Tom,
fill in.
If you're watching?
If you're available.
Greg,
Look, this horse, 1 for 32, going 5.5 last summer at Saratoga. He came in again with much sharper form
100%.
when he did that last summer. It is a big drop, but to me, the form just wasn't there.
I totally get it. I'm giving him a last chance in the drop down, but I agree. His recent form, he's had some trips, but it's not clear how much he can run anymore. Race number 4 features one of Greg Wolf's favorite horses, who will start out by showing it. So Greg and I are on the set for the commentator, which we're showing right now, and Greg said to me, and you talked about it on the air, and you sort of gave him a little bit of a push, and you said to me, I really like Olympic Dreams when the race goes off. And I sort of rolled my eyes to myself and went, okay, Greg, good luck with that. This was a harsh beat.
This horse ran huge. So Bankett is going to wind up passing him here, and you think most horses are just going to throw in the towel, and they are done. This horse re-engages, battles down on the inside, and it's also – it comes down actually to a photo finish. He gives Bankett all he can handle and more. He ran a huge effort in this spot. This was adding blinkers for the first time, so maybe this nudged and moved this horse forward a little bit. My concern, I love him today. I loved him that day. I like him back in here. I think if he runs that race again, he's going to win.
Cinch if
but
he runs that race.
He's been a vet scratch July 17th.
That worried me a little bit.
I don't love the work pattern either coming back.
Yeah,
it's not been very consistent.
I don't love that he was vet scratch. And listen, 100%, he runs. I'm going to tell you the truth. He runs his race 2 back. It's not clear he's probably likely to win this race. He is way the horse to beat here. To ignore that is sort of ridiculous.
Did you think it was just a 2-horse race?
I do, except I have smart friends who like Mason Mania, so I kind of moved him up. I thought Mason Mania was kind of a cut below these. Another horse getting a switch to Luis Saez. For those that are wondering, Eric Cancel is getting some, I think, surgery on his foot. In an issue, I actually ran into him. My mom and I were at Target. We ran into Eric and his wife and his kid, and we were talking to him about his injury, and we wish him a speedy recovery.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, he said it was just a case where they just felt they had to take care of it, or it was going to be a problem he couldn't really deal with. And he seemed to be doing okay. He just said they had to deal with the foot, so we wish him a speedy recovery. Nonetheless, this is a horse that's run okay in his races. I thought he was a cut below these 2 horses, though.
I agree.
I
wanted to ask you about El Hermano, the 7 in here. Not necessarily him, but the horse who beat him, Army Times for Chad Brown, who's now undefeated routing. How good is this horse?
Peter Brandt horse, right?
Horse
I have a friend that's really excited about it. He keeps talking to me about it. I'm not that familiar with this. He's run out of town. El Hermano is a horse that I had made a score with back in like 2019. When I saw him, I went, I think that's the Mott horse they put back on the dirt, and he wired a field at Belmont Park. I could still sort of remember watching it in my office. Jose Lezcano wrote him. I'm a Shadow Dragon fan. He is going to have to improve a little bit, and he's going to have to hope that Olympic Dreams doesn't run his last race. Not going to beat him, but I thought his last race was really good. I know it was a 4-horse field, but in the 4-horse field, he was out of his element in the sense that he's not a horse that has a tremendous amount of speed. He likes to sit back and make a run. Now, you could argue that his best races are a race at Belmont Park where he gets those one-turn races with faster paces, and it suits his running style, and the 2-turn probably has a much slower pace. But I still thought it was a bit contentious in this race, the 2, 3, and 4. And I just prefer the sort of improving Shadow Dragon. I don't have a strong opinion. I took him as the second choice. He's not the likeliest winner, but I think he's good enough.
And look, he's trying to chase down a gate-to-wire winner that day. That was not going to happen in there. Sundays with Sandy for Michelle Nevin. So he was up against it a little bit. He does need to move forward again. I could see it happening. But, yeah, again, if Olympic Dreams runs that last race, he's going to win.
What about the Rebel winner? You know that Sarah Abadwi and I were discussing Uno Ho on here on Saturday, totally randomly. No, it was because I was bringing up that horse she liked that won the Rebel this year, and she thought I meant Uno Ho, and she brought him up, and then I saw later that day that they drew the race, and the horse was running.
Just by chance.
Just out of nowhere.
So you got to throw this horse in then.
No.
That Rebel was incredibly slow.
Yes.
I mean, the figure he earned for that race, he's not even in the ballpark of these top two.
I totally agree. And we do have last year's Albany winner, Boss Making Boss Moves. I wonder if he's a little bit better on a wet track. Take a look at race 5, which kicks off that pick 6, $193,000 plus in the carryover. They're got to think there's going to be over $1 million in that pool today. And it does not start out with an easy race. And in theory, it's a good race to start the sequence because they're first-time starters. I sometimes wonder, though, how much the money even means in these races.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's pedigree with the two. Once an Eagle for Clement. The Dam produced, Tapitation?
Tapitation, 5 turf winners.
Yeah.
Good runners.
A 6-time winner on the turf, Uncle Curly as well.
Dam was good, too. The Dam was a multiple winner. She won 4 races, 4 for 14, 8 times the board, 92 buyer. I took this one in the pedigree. I think a lot of people will look and they'll say, well, Rosario's more the go-to rider, which may be the case. Now, maybe it's the West Point horses why he's riding it. I don't know. I was on with my friend Steve Bick yesterday, and he said, I'm going to use the new Clement as my main horse to start it out. And I'm thinking, okay, but I don't know how you can feel confident in this race by just using a couple.
No way. Yeah, I almost want to set yourself up to just survive this race. I actually do like the 5 quite a bit in this spot.
Okay.
So it's Mike Maker, and what I love, it's one of my favorite angles, 2 sprints stretching out. That's happening here. This is a horse who, it was tough to see. I went back and watched it a bunch of times. Something happened where this horse got squeezed, I think.
Broke a little slow, and then he just dropped out.
Yeah, and as a result of that lost position, I had to take way back. This horse actually immediately goes into gear, starts moving on the outside, and showed me ability on the grass. This horse can move a little bit over the turf. As a result of that, I love the fact now that this horse gets more ground, showed he can run on the grass with that move that he made, and I think it's going to make a big move forward here for Maker.
For what it's worth with Mike Maker, with Maiden stretching out on the turf, he's from sprints to routes, he's 22 for 114, 19% with a 213 ROI, so it is a move that works for Mike, and I think you have to use the horse with experience in here.
No
I think
question.
These mile and a 16th races, the experience comes into play much more than the sprints, where you're asking horses, none of them are really ready to go a mile and a 16. I think that's one of the reasons that you see these races get like 60 buyers and the horses end up being stakes horses the next year. They're just not ready for them.
To me, that was a loaded stakes race. I mean, it's a turf race, too, maiden race. To me, I thought the most for sure winner of this meet we've seen to this point was Graham coming out of that race. Graham came back and won. Nikki Jolene out of that race came back and won by 4 lengths on the turf sprinting.
Jolene, thanks for bringing it up. I did not bet when she came back and won.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up.
So it was a pretty tough group. This horse facing the turf first time out as well.
Getting no argument from me. I have the horse in there as well. I have the Clement, as I said, on top. I'm going to use George Weaver's Brock Nardini in here. I just respect George Weaver so much. The second Dam was a very good turf horse, and I feel like you leave George Weaver out of these races at your own peril.
No.
He's just such a dangerous trainer up here. And I don't have much else to say.
Real quick, I'll just say Belvoir, Clement, Rosario. Dam, not a big turf pedigree, right?
Not
on the bottom
a turf
side.
pedigree at all,
Dam
really.
did produce, though, and it made me get angry at myself because Dam produced Maiden Beauty. That was, and it's an angle that I keep.
Gary
Contessa
horse,
keep winning with as a first-time starter in the Lynbrook at Belmont. What, at 22-1. He does this every few years. Why did we not see that in the Schuylerville?
I'm just not getting involved in this conversation.
Okay.
How many other stakes has he won with first-time starters?
It's the 3rd time he's done it in
He's
the
done it
past
more
few
than
years.
just okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have
It's
no,
an angle.
I have no answer. Okay. Listen,
That I missed.
I did not like the 2-year-old sales work for either the 4 Coach Sessa or the 6 Belvoir. In fact, that's why I had Belvoir lower in this race. I mean, I don't know what that may or may not mean something, but I didn't love their sales work. So that's the first 5 or so. We'll be back with the late pick 5 in just a moment.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringWater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Greg Wolf and Andy Serling. Race number 6 kicks off the pick 5, second leg of that pick 6 carryover. And there are horses in here that are sort of hard to trust. One of them is Cannon Fire. Since it's the first video I have, we'll start with it. Sort of, what happened to this horse who ran so well to win off the long layoff and then sort of just completely fell apart? And this is one of 2 horses for Linda Rice, including the 7, who will be a short price. I wonder about this horse, like where this race come from and what happened last time. And then Postnup, who obviously can win. I think we both have her second. Postnup, Cherie DeVoe, her horses have been running lights out. And this horse was absolutely pathetic last time, albeit against better, but awful. And then they put the horse in the sale where she sells for $27,000 in there. And I just sort of wonder, I mean, both of these horses can win. And the way Linda Rice is going, I would not leave them out completely. But I have a tough time trusting either one of them.
Yeah, I agree. And you say, well, maybe the Give of the Ground with Cannon Fire. The horse won with Give of the Ground first time out in the debut. So you can't really use that as an excuse. Hard to try. I'm surprised we both like the 1.
Well, why not? We'll show the race. She's a router. I mean, I'm going to show the race at Gulfstream 3 back. She just prepped last time in a turf sprint, right, in April.
Yeah.
And they ran her in 2 races. They were the wrong races for her, and now she's getting back to what she does best. And if you're trying to beat Postnup, isn't she sort of the most logical horse in the race?
I actually like her a lot in here. When she won, which race is this?
This is 3
April
back.
21?
Yeah, this
so
is
this
the last
race,
turf
she
sprint,
was
turf
3
route.
wide the entire way, and the rail was out like a mile that day. And she still was able to win this race. I actually think she's going to be in the lead in this race.
Yeah, that's a good question because Cannon Fire potentially has some speed. Potentially Redzilla has some speed, but I'd like to see Manny be aggressive with her in
She
center.
has
I agree.
turf sprint speed. I think she uses it today, especially coming out of that turf sprint last time
Good
out.
point.
So, yeah, if this takes advantage, she's going to be very dangerous in here. And when she beat Calling All Angels, that horse came back and won by 3+ lengths at the very same level next time out. That was a decent group she beat. I know Artifact came back and won on synthetic, but then that horse, after that, will come back and win on the turf again as well.
What about Stir Crazy, the 3? We both have third.
Gotta
I mean,
use,
she's
right?
sort of in there somewhere because she just has some form.
In some ways, it's her and Postnup are the ones to beat, right? Just with who they faced?
Yeah. I mean, I think our horse is perfectly logical. I don't believe, I think that's I think we'll get I don't think we're going to get that price on her. We'll see. I guess it depends how much they bet the Linda Rice horses, and it's hard to read. I mean, if Postnup is no overwhelming favorite, she may well be. It's Linda Rice on the big drop down, then it opens the others up. Can Home for Christmas run at all anymore? She did not run particularly well 2 back. She was wide early, but it was a weak field, and then last time out, just a complete no-show. But a tougher field, and she was wide.
I didn't put her in. Definitely, I think go back 2 races, 3 races.
She has form that gives her a chance.
Didn't run ran okay for Clement, right? But then moves to the new barn, it doesn't show up.
Yeah,
that's a little alarming.
Was a tough spot with a wide trip, but I don't disagree. I wish she ran a little bit better in there, but I have a thing for her, and I thought maybe she had a chance today. Race number 7, the biggest upset in today's card for me is that race 7 didn't completely fall apart. This race, as I was going through it, and it's a fun, arduous handicapping chore. I just kept thinking, I'm looking way too long at a race that's going to have 4 scratches in it, and it's going to be a completely different race. And then now we got 1 scratch where the 1A comes out of this race, higher quality, but to me was one of the few horses I didn't even really think had a big chance in here. And I wouldn't knock a pick in this race, and I'm not confident of anybody. Now, Lord Captain, the thing about Lord Captain ran unbelievably for Linda. I mean, this is the one horse that, particularly off a claim, improved dramatically at the meet. Didn't even win.
I don't understand this performance.
I don't know where it came
Colonel
from.
Bowman is a seriously
mid to high
good
90s
horse.
buyer horse.
This horse improved about 6 lengths better than he has ever run in his life.
I don't care what figures you look at. This race was a gigantic improvement.
And the horse didn't even get out of the gate good.
You know what's interesting? And I normally would make fun of Tom Amoss. I was looking at the numbers claimed from Tom Amoss. They're actually pretty good, but not that good. I don't know where to put it, but the thing about it is, and this Linda, second off a claim sprinter route. She wins, and you look back, this is not a sprinter. I know he's a 1.25 mile horse, but he's a router.
Yeah, that's the thing. How much confidence do you have in Lord Nelson at a 1.25 miles?
Greg, I don't have any confidence in a single horse in this race getting the 1.25 miles other than slowly.
Multiple Grade 1 winning sprinter. And yet, you're right. I mean, the horse is one routing.
I picked him. I have no problem if somebody says, I don't like that horse at all. I'm not going to be surprised if he doesn't run particularly well in
no
here.
one knows.
But based on his this is a very, 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 very hard race, and we can go through most of the horses here. I mean, the horse that you picked on top, Portos, look at his race on opening day. Go ahead and talk about him, but he's a little tough to trust as well.
Everybody's tough to trust in this spot. I was going to say, look, 1 1/8 races here are taxing, and you're going to see horses laboring home. 1.25 miles? Are you kidding me?
He seems the most likely in his own way to get the 1.25 miles.
Yes. So, yeah, I thought this was the most trustable horse going 1.25 miles in this field. This horse broke his maiden by 1.5 miles by about 10 lengths. I know that was on a sloppy track. Third in the Withers at 1.5 miles. He won at Keeneland at 1.5 miles by 5.25 in an entry-level allowance. He was third to Lone Rock when Lone Rock was Lone Rock, when he was the main man in that division at 1.5 miles.
Portos was a very good horse at one time. He's now disappointing in his return race when he was dropped down to a low level, and now he's going to a barn, to be fair. And I don't want to beat up on anybody, but this barn has not won a race since late February in New York, and that concerns me.
It's a big concern. You go not that far back. I think Britain's Kitten. This horse would be a favorite in this race. Was third to Britain's Kitten. Zozos was third to Brad Cox runner.
13 lengths in the Brooklyn to next makes him the horse to beat in here.
I agree.
I mean, I agree. I am not denying any of that. I don't trust him at all. But once again, I'm not going to be surprised when he wins this race by 4 lengths.
In some ways, is this the most fascinating race on the card?
I think it is, and I think we should spend some time on it. I think we should talk about some other horse in here. What about a horse like King of Hollywood? Could King of Hollywood, the 4, be the speed of the speed? We'll take a look at a race of his at Delaware. I think this is his race 2 back, and I mean.
Okay, he got a, I use Thorograph as well. He got a monster Thorograph number in this race.
In this race.
Yes.
And then last time out, he met Systemic Change, who was a Chad Brown horse who at one time had some ability. I mean, are you going to be shocked when he wires the field here?
No. I mean, if this is reproducible at going a longer distance, he's going to win by 10 lengths. I mean, it's incredible, this number he ran in this race. He ran a 1-3.
I mean, I think you go through them. I don't really like Lost in Rome. But is it a weird move for Rick Dutrow off the claim? Are you going to be shocked when he improves for Rick? You got to get 1.25 miles. I don't see it.
But it's a multiple winner at 1 1/8 miles as well.
Yeah, so I don't want to just completely dismiss him. How about Just Call Ray? He's got back races going a little longer that give him a chance at least in here.
Yeah.
He's off the claim for Fernando Abreu. His horses have been running extremely well.
I thought Bobby G. This horse has won 17 times in his career. He's won at 1 1/8 miles as well. Run very good at least. And who's coming off one of the better figures. He's 9 now. One of the bigger figures he's ever ran.
Was the Jamie Ness horse last time?
Yeah. I felt this is a horse who's just going to keep plugging along. And if some of these horses can't handle the distance, he's going to keep coming.
And if my friend Bobby G is in town, it could really enhance his chances. What about Bear Oak? I mean, we didn't talk about him. I have friends who like Bear Oak in here that I respect. He's off the claim for Norm Cassie. Norm is 2 for 16 off the claim with Dirt Routers with a low ROI, but he's got a race 3 back that makes him a huge player in this race.
I thought even his race last time out was sneaky good.
So, yeah. I mean, I just, you look through in here, and we didn't even mention a David Jacobson horse in here that I'm not a huge fan of, but you think he's impossible in here, the 6 Salto de Tigre?
No, one of his better recent races, and it actually came this year. I know it was a wet track, but it was at 1 1/8 miles when he was second to Afghan.
This feels like the race that's most likely to trip people up, I think, in the sequence. Just because, I mean, I don't feel like I could play his pick 6 and use 4 here and have any confidence whatsoever.
No.
We'll see what happens.
And how short do you think Lord Captain's going to be?
And I end up picking the favorite, which makes me a complete cop-out. I don't know. You know, I wouldn't want to make the morning line any day, any race, anywhere. I would definitely not want to make it here. It just seems like a very, very tough race. Because it feels like a race where there's somebody who will get bet more heavily than you might expect, and there's going to be one or two horses that just sort of fall by the wayside for right or wrong reasons.
Well, I had that same opinion with another Linda Rice runner. I think it was last week, and a 15-1 shot. It was a mile and an eighth race, I believe. 15-1 shot is about to pull it off, and all of a sudden, this Linda Rice horse who had no pedigree to go long kicks into gear late and nails that horse at the wire.
Yeah, I'm
going to start off the pick 5.
I would say the race just completely fell apart. I think the Linda Rice got a 62 buyer. I think it was like I know you're talking. April Antics was the horse that opened up.
Okay.
If you had April Antics, you're still nauseous. Race number 8 is the De La Rose. Greg and I were discussing the pronunciation, and I called up the one man here I know, spent time with De La Rose, working for Woody Stevens, Dave Donk. And as Dave said in his usual Dave way, well, we all called her De La Rose, but I can't promise anything. And I remember, quite finally, her 1981 Diana win is actually on YouTube and was watching it today. She was a very, very, very good horse. Woody Stevens.
Can we make a call to the jockeys club and just include a pronunciation with your name, and we'll never have this problem again?
I think that's a great idea. Good luck getting it done, but I think it's a great idea. Technical analysis. Here she is losing to Evie Jets with Howdy finishing third and Haughty. Excuse me, it's Haughty. Haughty. Pete Bradley was correct in texting me. It's Haughty.
Kendra Mossie's believed this is her distance, and which obviously she was able to control on the front end. We were a little perplexed as to why technical analysis did not to go on with it early.
I would love to see her go and just try to clear. She is faster than Evie Jets. I would be happy to be wrong here and see Evie Jets win. I'm always happy to see the Cantromachis do well. I'm a little concerned that technical analysis has kind of lost a little bit, but I will say, you look at her races, last year, she needed her first start. She improved dramatically after that, and she is much the best horse if she runs anywhere close to her best race.
But you see that this barn is ready to go first off the bench. There are questions. Is she the same horse? I guess we find out today. And you go back to Evie Jets, and she keeps getting underestimated. She is first or second, 8 of 11 starts at this mile distance. This is her distance, and look who she beat 3 back. Maybe she's a little bit better than we think. She beat White Beam, who wound up winning the Diana.
I just prefer others here, but I'm not denying
I
that
agree
she's
with
good,
you,
and she's game and usually shows up. White Frost, it's fair to say, how did she lose at 29 cents the dollar last time? What happened 2 back? Well, one of the things that's happened to her is she has been in extremely slow-paced races, and she had a mediocre trip last time. She was squeezed out at the start, and she lost a couple of lengths in that race. This is the race, I believe, at Churchill Downs, 2 back. Maybe she was just too aggressive in here because she was so scared of the horse who looked like the main horse to beat being a speed.
She is supposed to have won each of these last 2 races.
I don't disagree. But I'm thinking today she finally gets a little bit of pace to run at. Not a huge pace, but at least an honest pace. And she can sit back and make that one run. And everybody's going to abandon her today. I don't think she's going to be 3-1. I'm praying for higher. I picked her thinking she'd be higher. 3-1, technical analysis 9-5, her 3-1. I would bet technical analysis. I thought technical analysis would be even money in this race. But maybe I'm wrong. What do you think? Davis is 9-5. He's usually right. So
yeah, I don't know if she's going to be even money in here, but she's going to be short. She loves Saratoga too. I think that's a big factor too, getting back to a course where she's been better than she's ever been. And you're right. I mean, she did need that first start last year, and then she got markedly better. And those numbers destroy this field.
Destroy this field.
Yeah.
Yes. Eminent Victor has never run a particularly fast race, but she didn't get the best of rides last time. She caught a yielding turf at Woodbine, 2 back. She was making a move, a race won by White Bean, and was completely sawed off in the stretch. I think she deserves a chance to see what she can do on a firm turf course as a 4-year-old. Regal Realm is going to take money. You have her second here. I don't like her in this spot. Here she is winning 2 back. I just feel like she is taking a gigantic step up in company.
She is. Look, she comes in 3 for 3 this year. She's obviously gotten a lot better. That last was a stakes race at Canterbury. This is the win at Belmont, it looks like, right? She's put together back-to-back figures where it looks like she's going to take a jump forward, and if she can, she's in the category with technical analysis on her best day. I don't know if she could do that out of a race at Canterbury, but she's obviously going in the right direction, and she can sit a really nice trip behind whoever does go to the front.
All right, we'll see what happens. Runaway Rumor was shockingly bad last time. I know the course had given it, but She's handled Give before, but that was a weird effort. But she has some okay back races as well. Fun running of the De La Rose. Race number 9, 5.5 furlongs. The horse you have on top, if she breaks, she's probably the horse to beat.
I like her a lot.
Okay. Go ahead.
So she ran against Roses for Deborah. What's your opinion of Roses for Deborah?
She's good.
Very good.
She was very good in the Caress the other day.
I'm not sure she was that much better than Mail Order in that race.
Well, Mail Order got left.
Mail Order got left. She was 4 wide basically the entire way around the racetrack.
She kind of picked up the pieces for second, though, and I bet her that
I thought
day,
she ran a
so.
huge race that day.
You're not the only one that thinks that. So.
But you're right. It's not like it's a one-off where she had problems at the gate. I'm hoping she has better. If she can break a little bit cleaner today,
they were inside posts.
Very tough in here.
They were inside posts when she got left, post 1 and 2, and now she's more towards the outside, which I think helps her cause. She's a must-use in here. I'm not way against her. The horse that I'm against in here is the horse that you have second, Scottish Star. We'll take a look at her race in the Miss Liberty. First of all, she shouldn't have lost the Miss Liberty. I am a Spirit and Glory fan who beat her, but she was 2-5 that day. Also, we'll show a stat for Todd Pletcher after this with his routes to sprints. He has terrible numbers, route to sprints, and to me, this is a bit of a desperation move for this horse.
She's already shown us the ability. She can sprint on dirt, right, against top-level competition. So doesn't that alleviate your fears a little bit?
No, because there's a big difference between being effective going 6 and 6.5 on the dirt and being effective 5.5 against decent turf sprinters. I think it's just a very different game. I think it's a reasonable point, and I imagine that's what Todd's thinking, and it's not. I don't think it's an unfair point. I just don't know how much it means. And Todd Pletcher's numbers turning back on turf, they're a disaster. I mean, it just shows that when he's doing it, in most cases, he's probably sort of taking a shot, and it's just not working out.
Okay.
She's the one I don't like. IRAD's on her. She's stake face. She's going to get bet. She wins. I'm going to lose. I'm going to use Happy Soul, who has some good races for Wesley. But I'm going to bet on Sarah Harper. And here's a race in the Unbridled Sydney behind Caravel. I almost feel like
Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint winner.
Yeah, and the Jaipur winner, and I'll be betting against her in the Troy this weekend. I'm a stubborn man. If there's any speed in the race, at least.
Should we revisit? Go ahead.
I had the world's worst opinion, the Jaipur. I agree. I hated her, and I'll bet against her again. Forgetting about that, where did this race come from for Sarah Harper? This was a monstrously slow pace.
Huge race.
It was an inside track. She made a big wide move into a slow-paced race. I think it's fair to say she runs this race. She's going to be very tough to beat.
Off that race, I wanted to pick her on top.
Right. But her other turf races are absurd. Now, I did not like the ride last time. I thought that I thought they should have been more aggressive with her there. He may have been riding to instructions. Whatever the case, she's going to be a fair price, and she's got a race 2 back that would make her win here.
Yeah.
I don't trust it at all. She may never run it again. I don't even know who that was. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was like her sister, Sarah, another Sarah Harper or something.
She's going to take play just really as a result of that. Yeah.
But she was really good that day.
Yeah,
I don't trust it at all either, but I got it.
I thought long and hard about putting her second in here. I probably should have, but yeah, she's very intriguing. She, to me, individually, we talked about that mile and a quarter race being intriguing. Individually, horses running today, I'm most excited about seeing what she does on the grass.
I agree, because that just may be a race that for her whole career lives in isolation. But if it doesn't, she could be very tough in here. It's a pretty interesting race, actually. Race 10 closes it out. So you have this race, and finally you get to a race and you say, listen, I don't love Vax, but she's the one I could probably lean on in this sequence, and now she's out. And now you're faced with a race where it is very hard to like anybody. Thus, Greg picks Motown Madison. Have at it.
All right, so as you said, with Vax gone, there's no one that scary in this group. Anybody seemingly can win this race. I like the fact she was in against Straight Maiden Company. It was a Gulfstream. It was maybe a pretty talented Jenna Annanucci, first-time starter, wound up winning that race. Can't stop. Second-place finisher for Safi Joseph. Came back, really improved the figure. But this horse actually started to quicken and started to make a move into the turn and actually put herself in contention about that in that group. Obviously, she wound up getting beaten by more than 10 lengths, 10 and a quarter lengths in the end. But she showed ability in that race. It was a straight, open maiden group. And then she comes right back and she wins on synthetic. But she has durability.
I'm not knocking anybody here.
Okay.
I wouldn't. You have to be out of your mind to knock anybody in this race because the horse who's probably going to be favored, you pronounce it Aguililla.
Aguililla?
I don't know.
I believe so.
Fine. The 6. I'm going to call this one the 6. She's 1 for 37. 1 for 37 with 6 seconds and 12 thirds. I get it. She can win this race, but I wouldn't bet on a horse like this in a million years. You got to have her somewhere in the pick 6 because she's probably kind of the horse to beat in here, but I can't take her. I kind of wanted to make Fellini in here. Gets Joel Rosario, looks like the speed. Baby Sox, though, is supposed to get in her way. You like Baby Sox more than me, but her race 2 back, I guess, is good enough to win here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few that want to go to the front, right? I don't think
2 and 4, I think, with a scratch.
Yeah. 1, 2, 4. They all have pace in this spot. Even the outside horse, I don't think is as quick. It's Finger Lake speed from the outside, but another one maybe thrown into the mix that wants to be forward. I thought you had to throw in the 5 just because this horse has that sharp 3 furlong gate drill that showed ability on dirt, and the horse figure-wise never been on dirt, obviously. But those numbers, if this horse can't run on dirt at all, it could be a major player.
Listen, there's not a lot of dirt pedigree looking through on this horse, which bothers me. Once again, I'm not.
You may not need it against this group.
I'm not knocking a horse that's never been on the surface that has run figures on synthetic that will bury this field.
Yeah.
So to suggest this horse can't win would be absolutely ridiculous. I picked Devilly, who has some back races that are fast enough to win. Caught a sloppy track against better horses the only time that she ran in the dirt recently, but it's not clear she's just a turf horse. Jimmy Ferraro, I always root for Jimmy. I don't love this horse at all, but she'll be a decent enough price, and she has some races that can win it. I had picked her second in the year. I scratched into it. I'm okay with that.
Okay, I will say Fellini does have a pretty big working with who's the good millionaire turf horse Jimmy Bond has, who's run well on dirt.
Rinaldi?
Yeah, worked heads up with Rinaldi.
When I hear Fellini, I think of the movie Breaking Away.
That was Fellini?
No, Fellini did not make it. No. You saw it? You saw Breaking Away, right?
I've seen it several times.
The son who's the bike racer,
yeah,
and he thinks he's
Italian fan, yeah.
and he calls the cat Fellini. And the dad says, the cat's name is Jake. Refund.
One of the great movies. That's one of the great movies of all time.
That's one we agree on. I think Breaking Away is one of the true and amazing. One of the first Dennis Quaid movies, right? Daniel Stern is in it. Really, really good people in that movie.
Okay.
All right. If you've never seen Breaking Away, the Peter Yates movie about the kids in
weekend plans now to see that again.
Yeah, it's the kids in Bloomington, and sort of the rivalry with the between the school and the town, the Cutters, right? Because their family worked in the quarries. Anyhow, Greg, thanks. Fun as usual.
Yep.
You will be on late today. I will be on early. I think tomorrow we will spend a little time together.
Okay.
You need to get ready for that pick 6 carryover. Head over to Naira Bets, best space to play it. And by the way, I could joke, and we can all joke, about the $1 million bonus if you hit it. Well, there was a horse that was live for the whole pool in the last race on Sunday, and it was played through Naira Bets. And that person, now the horse didn't win, but that horse would have gotten the $1 million bonus.
And look, we've had days too. There have been carries in the pick 5 at Belmont. I think we had a day. It could happen.
There was. Well, it could have happened on Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, it actually could have happened. So just pointing it out. We all know it's a long shot, but it's the reason to play it through Naira Bets. You imagine living with yourself knowing you missed out on that $1 million. SPA 200 is the promo code, and we'll match with $200 initial deposit. Pick 4s today in 3, 5, and 7. That should be pretty easy to remember on today's 10-race card, opening race on the jumps. We have $10 bonus, 50 or more on Saratoga and Delaware. Delaware. Delamar's not running. Opt in over at Naira Bets. We have the contest. No, carryover. There it is. 193,772 starts in race number 5. The contest, you have until 5 o'clock on Friday. Head over to naira.com/contests. We have a feeder for that. We just started this. I love this. $40 feeder on Fridays. Also go over. You probably have until tomorrow at 5 o'clock to sign up for this one. And we have the show, 1 to 6:30, FS2, covering all the action. Greg, thank you very much. The crew will be together in parts. I got to head over to the front. You'll be here.
All right. Enjoyed it.
Have a great day. Enjoy it as well. Enjoy a beautiful day at Saratoga. Frank Miramati up next. Reprise, Scratches and Changes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.